Hello, this is Alex Calvo Garcia. You're listening to the Iron Hour podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the 18th episode of season 4 of the Iron Hour podcast. Whether you're listening on Spotify or YouTube, we thank you for joining in. And of course, a huge thank you to our sponsors. That's Best Blanks Wholesale, No Film, AC Videography and Photography, and of course, Hole in the Wand. So an action-packed episode today. On the panel today, you've obviously got myself, host Barra, and I'm joined by two of my regular panelists. First up, Max Bell. How you doing, Max?
All the better for seeing you, Barra.
Yeah, I like that. Original content. We're coming up with lines we've never used before. I like it, mate. We're at the cutting edge of podcasts.
Well, look, it's what you say, season 4, episode 18. So
you should know what to expect by now, shouldn't you?
I feel like we're going to be The Wire. First 4 seasons, magnificent. Season 5, some dodgy plot lines.
Well, hopefully the EFL plot lines. Hey, Marco. How you doing, Marco?
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. I'm great. I'm just recovering after this sort of disappointment. But yeah, glad to be here and back to it with double headers. I know all the players feel now with all these games. It's coming in thick and fast. But no, I'm a lot of people came up to me yesterday in the Iron Bar and sort of just appreciating what we're doing, that, which meant a lot. So yeah, big thanks to everybody who came to see me yesterday. And surprise, surprise, I was a little bit merry. So if I didn't remember your names, I am sorry, but thank you.
Well, it's been our commitment over the past 2 seasons to get a podcast out after every game, particularly after every league game. And I don't think we've disappointed yet. And we carry on with that. Well, I say we've not disappointed. Maybe the content's disappointed, but at least we've stuck to our guns, eh, lads? So, coming up on today's episode, we've got the full review of the defeat to Carlisle, which ended, of course, our unbeaten start to the season. We do have a pitch update coming up later on, so I'll tell you a little bit more information about that when we get to it. But we have got some news on the pitch. Of course, we'll preview the midweek game against Morecombe. We'll have our usual FPL update and something a little bit different this week. We've got a light-hearted quiz. I have taken the idea for this quiz from a podcast, Quickly Given Willie Score, which I've been listening to, and it had me in stitches. So I thought, let's roll with it. And of course, as well, we've got lots of questions, lots of thoughts coming in from our listeners. So we'll kick off with that. Max, I'll kick off with one here from Mr. Mike Jackson. And he says, it seems like we've caused a bit of controversy with our physicality. Are we now guilty of being too physical? Wasn't too long ago when we were being bullied all over the pitch.
So I can understand the controversy in the context of the Carlisle game specifically. I wouldn't say that has actually really been an issue in any of the other games. But look, you do have to be careful. I think the latitude for physicality in the National League compared with the Premier League is far greater. But again, you do have to be careful. And even from a selfish point of view, we don't want to be missing good players through suspension or injury, which is always a risk. So, look, we'll see. Obviously, we've got the Morecombe game coming thick and fast on Tuesday. So we'll see what approach both ourselves and Morecombe take to that one. But look, it's a line, isn't it? And I would always traditionally think of Scunthorpe as a side that does try to play football. We'll play with wingers, we'll get balls into the box. So yeah, let's hope that's what we're talking about after Tuesday, rather than any incidences for either side.
Well, Marco, there were lots of talking points from the game against Carlisle. Any that you wanted to pick out?
Oh, I mean, the obvious ones, sort of staying on where you're at with the physicality. Obviously, the Evan yellow elbow, which obviously at the time and in real speed seemed didn't seem that bad, but obviously seeing it back, I think he's maybe got away with one. So yeah, you feel like I still stand by. I don't think Boyce's was a straight red card.
He's got him the wrong way around, hasn't he, the ref?
Yeah, I think he really has. So it's sort of evened itself out.
But then even if he gets them the wrong way round, Barra, we end up with 9 men.
That first one wasn't a booking either, though, mate. The first yellow that Boyce is on is an absolute joke in itself.
I think, and that wasn't just for us, it was for both teams. I think they picked up a lot of yellows needlessly and cards that weren't actually cards. So I think he was consistently bad for both teams. And like I say, yesterday just seemed to be, how can I make this about me? And I think he did just that. And with it, obviously, it killed the game a bit. But like you say, it's hard to be too pissed off with the Boyce incident because, yeah, Evans has definitely got away with one. And look, that's Boyce and Evans, and that's how they play. It is physical. It's in your face. It's very they use the frame and their physical advantage, and they do it well. I thought their number 9, I can't remember his name, Kelly.
Georgie Kelly.
Kelly, yeah, I thought he gave him a really tough task.
He was a good player. Like,
yeah,
of the sides we've played this season, he's the best kind of striker I've seen.
Yeah, he was everything we want Beck to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect example. So if you're going to play someone in that role, I thought he did it really well, winning the free kicks, which was obviously their main threat. And the only way you could really see them scoring was a set piece. So to have someone who can compete with defenders like that and obviously win those balls, no, I was really impressed with him. So yeah, but yeah, we like I said, the talking points are bound to be the red that got given, the one that didn't get given. But yeah, Boyce and Evans won't change, and I don't think Butler will want them to. That's their game, and as long like Max says, as long as it doesn't cross the line, then yeah, one may continue. They've been superb this season.
So I would just say two things in that I do think, and it's not Kelly's fault, but I do think as a centre half, even subconsciously, when you see a big target man, there's that bit in you that goes, right, that's the game today. You know, like let's be big, let's be strong, let's be aggressive. So I think that encouraged both Boyce and Evans to really push that side of their game because, given their height, that is one of their strengths. What I would say, however, is that I don't really have an issue with the referee's performance. To be honest, I've watched the Boyce incident live, and sort of the group of mates I stand with, we were probably 50-50 down the middle in terms of whether or not we thought it was a yellow or a red. I've seen it back, and I can see why the referee just give it. You do see incidents like that, where players are trying to turn and they're trying to put the foot on the ball. I think he's over the ball. I can understand why the referee's given a straight red for that. And actually, in terms of the Evans one, had the referee given a red for that, I'm not sure we could or would have had any complaints. I suspect the yellow card for that incident might quote unquote save Evans because traditionally the rule has always been if the referee's seen it and booked him, you can't then bank that for retrospective action. So, look, we'll miss Boyce. 3 games, he really will be a miss. But every time I've seen JB come on for us, I've been impressed. Albeit that's usually been at right back, where actually his pace going forward has been a real asset. And even when he came on Saturday against Carlisle, I thought it was a real asset. So, look, we'll see. But I'm hoping that Tuesday at home in Morecombe will be just what the doctor ordered for us.
Marco, we had a comment on Twitter from somebody going by the handle of M, who praised Westbrooke's performance, and Richard Parkinson on Facebook's backed it up with a question of what did you think of Zane's first start? I think he'll be another quality player similar to Ewing once fit. Must keep him for the season. Ewing, Zane, Beastie and Rowley, quality midfield 4 to rotate between all 4 of them.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it was a poor game for him to actually come into, and a big ask. Obviously, I thought before the sending off, probably right up until obviously he came off, I thought it was fantastic. I thought he kept the ball really well. He kept it ticking. I know somebody mentioned similarities to Clunan, and I can see that, but with that little bit, obviously more quality passing forward.
He looks a bit like Clunan in the face, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got cracking hair, hasn't he? But yeah, no, I was really impressed. I thought he's got that little bit of physicality as well, and yeah, I think it's a great addition. And yeah, it says something about the levels we're at the minute, bringing players in like that who are on the fringe at Doncaster, obviously in League One. Same as I think Fleming, obviously coming from a Championship team. It says where we want to be, and no, I thought it was really impressive yesterday. So yeah, I think we'll be seeing a lot of him this season. Whether we can get him for longer, like Richard says, remains to be seen. But yeah, I hope so, because he obviously looks a class outfit.
Right, Max, we have praised the goalkeepers on this podcast so far this season. It's been something of a goalkeepers union, but no, I like to think we're honest. I thought.
Oh, well, Watson struggled.
He was at sixes and sevens, mate, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. But I'm a big believer in the old, saying, "Fuck ups of this quality require teamwork." So I think he did struggle, particularly aerially. But I think back to the first half, and Carlisle's set piece delivery was actually really good. It was better than ours consistently throughout the game. And if you've got a lad who's free twice at the back post, 4 yards out from goal, that's not the goalkeeper. If you're getting players who are free headers out, then I don't think realistically you can pin that on the keeper. We'd had the warning with the Carlisle goal. It had almost identical delivery, identical movement, identical block, identical chance to bundle it home, and we didn't heed that warning. So they made us pay, and obviously that was the difference between the two teams when it came to the final result. I'm sure that Rory will be disappointed in his performance. He will know that he can do better than that, and he will want himself to do better than that. But look, players are human. We're in the National League. Everyone is at this level for a reason. And again, I think this is an advantage of the fact that we're playing on Tuesday. You haven't got any time to think about it. As a goalkeeper, you can't afford to doubt yourself, because anytime you make an error, it's immediately exposed. It's so obvious, in a way that it isn't, say, for example, if a winger overhits a cross. If a keeper makes an error, the potential consequences of that are really, really high. So, look, I've still got faith in Watson. I think he's had a number of really good performances when we've needed him so far this season, and I'm hoping that another one of those good performances will come on Tuesday.
I'm going to stick with you, Max, because I just want to dig a touch deeper. So I don't think even the most ardent critics of Watson would say he was at fault for the goal. It wasn't so much that. It was particularly in that second half when crosses and corners were getting put into our box, when we were looking to kind of get on the counter attack. He looked like to be flapping at them. There was a couple that he's come and kind of tried to take into his chest and have bounced off. There was a couple he went with his hands and got at the second chance. Obviously, there was the save in the first half, which looked a relatively comfortable one, and he's parried it away. Don't know if I'm being harsh. I'll give you the right of reply, but that was probably the first time this season where I've looked as a fan and gone, "Ooh, that does not look good."
Yeah, and I would say in terms of the crosses, it wasn't easy. I don't think he was held by any conditions. There was swirling wind for times during the game. There was quite a bit of rain, but he will still want to do better. Like he just will. I don't want to overreact on that front, because ultimately I don't think it would have made a difference to the game. And I know you've talked about in terms of when you're then wanting to counter attack. Those kind of goals are actually very, very rare in football. So, when it comes to the missed opportunities of then immediately trying to break forward, I'm not sure that would have had a massive impact either. And look, Carlisle's set piece delivery was good. I agree with Marco. I don't think in traditional open play they offered loads, but they won't care because they've taken away from 3 points. And actually, then in the second half, when we were pressing, when we were putting them under pressure, they defended quite well when they needed to. You could see that Carlisle were reacting to their performance against York, I thought. So, look, if anybody had offered us being in the playoffs at this stage of the season, having only lost once, given the quality of the opposition that we've been playing, particularly in the last month, we'd have all been absolutely thrilled with that.
Okay, right, Marco, we've got a question here from Nick Bell, and he says, do you think we should have Mahadi back from Leeds just to take Rory out of the firing line, if nothing else?
I think in an ideal world, then we saw Mahadi had that quality. I do stand by what I was saying. Obviously, we're speaking about Rory Watson today with yesterday's performance, and I think that's the first time it really happened this season where a team has picked up on that's not our strongest position. And he was crowded out, particularly from their goal, putting bodies around him, making it difficult for him to come out and actually claim a ball. And again, I don't think that happened to Mahadi against York, which I expected it to. So in that case, look, I mean, we're saying Mahadi played very well. He could have equally made the same mistakes as Watson yesterday. We yet to see that. So, yeah, it's easy to say. It's easy to say, yeah, he looked a brilliant keeper. We spoke about him on the last podcast. Look, he's got a call for Scotland under 21s, not someone back, so the quality's there to see. But yeah, like Butler said, he's obviously not made his bed, but he's gone early doors saying Campbell's is number one. Watson's obviously came in and performed well. So yeah, look, before yesterday, we weren't even really talking about goalkeeper, especially not for negative reasons. So yeah, I think it's just one of those things. And like I said, for the goal, I don't think Fitzsimmons catches that. I don't think many keepers catch that and claim it.
I agree. I do agree, but I don't think fans are necessarily concerned with the goal. It was everything else, which didn't result. I know that'll be your right reply.
Yeah, no, look, as long as it doesn't go, I really don't care. I know a couple of his kicks are a bit wayward. Like Max said, the conditions weren't great. I know it sounds like we're making excuses for him, but look, we all want the same thing. We want a keeper that just stops the ball going in the goal, and that's the bottom line. But yeah, look, to bring in Mahadi back, he still is with us officially for a month at least. So whether that's crossed Butler's mind after last night's performance, but I really don't think it will, because that would be a big kick in the balls for Watson.
Well, the nature of the youth loan means that he's available for selection for both the Leeds youth team and for Scunthorpe United, which I do believe, I think he played I think it was Friday, so he played 2 days after our game. He was straight back into the Leeds youth setup. So interesting to see that, he is obviously getting game time and, like you say, possibly an option there. We'll go to another question here, and this is from the other Nick Bell, and I'll put this one to you, Marco. He says, do you think we should have dragged Liney off at full time across the Mackies and filled him in? Linney, that is.
I reckon there's a fair few about Donny Roden who would have happily done that. We're not condoning that, however. But yeah, look, he's one of those that if he's on your team, you love him.
Yeah.
If he's not, is the antichrist. Is not the most popular. But all joking aside, and obviously he's clearly a wind-up merchant, I wasn't impressed with his overall performance. Obviously, going into the game, he was their danger man. And I think maybe the sort of pantomime villain sort of thing distracted from a very poor performance from him. I don't really think he offered much at all. Like I say, I thought Kelly was outstanding for him up front, but yeah, you're always going to get a player like that. And like I say, I won't be too pissed off, because if he was on ours, you'd love him. I wouldn't have loved him yesterday playing like that, because I didn't think he was very effective at all. But yeah, no, it was funny, and I think he took it quite well. So yeah, no problems with that.
Max, you touched on our start to the season and how you were very happy with it. Richard Parkinson's been back in touch, and he says, now we've played 8 of the top 10 teams already this season out of the 12 games. Do you think we can go on another unbeaten run playing the lower teams in the league?
I hope so. And look, obviously the off-field turmoil they've been through is really, really significant. But Truro have now played. Morecombe have now played 11 games. They're below everyone in the table, even Truro. They've only taken 8 points, and we're at home. Tuesday is the kind of game that, even if you're trying to finish 16th, you want to be winning. And I think it's a really good opportunity to make sure that we don't dwell on Saturday's frustrations, getting straight back at it, getting 3 points on the board. And then, look, you just try and take it. You just try and take it game by game. The FA Cup might be a nice little break. Then we've got, what is, and I imagine will be a tough trip to Boston. Never a town we've done well in. You come away with any result there realistically, and you might be okay with it. let's see where we are at the end of October. As I said, 12 games in, won 7, drawn 4, lost 1. Like we're fifth in the table. We've got a game or 2 in hand on most of the sides around us. And that's a massive start to the season. Like that's huge. That's significantly better than I think even the most optimistic Iron fans could have said. And look, there's clearly some good sides in this division. We've played most of them. Let's see what happens in the next 3-4 weeks.
Marco, I made 2 points. So I was writing notes, watching the game, obviously, on my laptop for this one. I made 2 notes during the game. One was about the goalkeeper situation. And the other thing I've written down here, it just says, for God's sake, take Will Evans off free kicks. There was a few. Yeah, no, there was a few there where he's just hiked it into touch immediately when we've looked to get going. And also when the ball was in play, he's got the ball and he's just straight down the pitch. I don't know if it was the wind or what it was, but it's gone out for a goal kick or a throw in almost immediately. It was happened 4 times. It was just incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, obviously I picked up on 1 or 2 of those, and it's more annoying than anything else, and it just seems quite wasteful. Especially when you saw how Carlisle utilised set pieces and used them all to quite obviously successful with the goal. And again, Evans is a man you sort of want up there to be meeting the crosses. Yeah. I don't know if he ended up taking so many, because obviously Boyce wasn't on the pitch, so he wasn't going actually up. The 2 big lads weren't going up to sort of cause chaos in the opposition area. But yeah, again, look, they'll analyse everything, and it won't surprise me if he's maybe not taking as many. We've seen previously Butler quite fancied him as a midfielder at one point due to he is a good passer of the ball. And yeah, like I said, but set pieces doesn't seem to be his strongest point. But yeah, look, they'll have picked up on that, and it won't surprise me if you don't see him taking many next time.
I would just say, sorry to jump in, fellas. I would just say not to overreact, though, because line-wise, I did see from him and others 3 or 4, particularly in the second half, in the last 20 minutes, 3 or 4 really, really good, big crossfield switches out to the right-hand side to Roberts. Yeah. And that was, it was the way we were able to get behind them most often in the second half, especially in the last 20 minutes when we were making a push to try and equalise. And, I think he's been an absolute rock so far this season. Only really got good things to say about him. So hopefully him and JB can be a good partnership for what I imagine is going to be the next 3 games.
Well, Marco, obviously we're talking about the centre-back situation. It's pertinent because there's a question here from Richard Parkinson who says, do you think we will get another centre-back in? Either of you can take that question, but it's just a thought there.
Personally, I don't think we will. Obviously, we know JB's coming in. We haven't heard on Rose, have we? How big his injury, how far away he's coming back. Obviously, Horton could maybe come across and do a job if needed. Obviously, we've seen Denton play in a 5. Don't
you think Horton will be back on at the fullbacks in the fullback position this week? Because Denton looked cooked.
Yeah, I thought he'd be in on Saturday. To be true. Yeah, I was surprised to see Denton starting. I think Horton probably will start on Tuesday. But obviously, just mentioning the centre back there, I think obviously Boyce was fantastic. Boyce actually came in to replace Evans last year when Evans got his suspension, and he made that position his own. So JB will be looking at that thinking, right, this is his chance now to really nail down that position. And like I said, in his cameos when he's been coming on, obviously he's been mainly on the right. But he's looked impressive, and I think other than Brackley game, I was maybe a bit sceptical he could have done more than me. Equalised, but barring that, he really hasn't put a foot wrong. So yeah, Morecombe's a really good opportunity on paper, which we say a lot, to probably go ahead and get that clean sheet, a boost for Watson or whoever is in net, and yeah, really make a claim for your place, because the games are coming thick and fast, and yeah, there's opportunities to be taken for sure.
Yeah, I was just going to say that unless we picked up another injury or suspension, I think we've got enough cover across that back line currently. If we did pick up another one in the next couple of games, you might consider it. I presume that Boyce's ban will also include the FA Cup fixture against Kings Lynn.
I don't know, because we had this conversation, didn't we, last season, where I contacted James Moody to ask him about that, and he was under the impression that, or certainly my memory is, he said it would only be for the league matches. So I'm not sure, mate. I'd have to check that, but I actually don't think he would be banned for the cup game.
Okay, well, look, we'll find out in a week either way, and I'm sure Scunny will be double checking. Either way, look, if he is banned for the cup game, then you're probably all right with that because it's 2 league games. But then equally, if he is back for the cup game, and I suppose any hypothetical cup replay as well, then well, you've got an extra body for that game, haven't you? And you probably don't need to break up any kind of additional reinforcement. So at this moment in time, I am okay with the club not signing a short-term reinforcement at the back.
Okay, right. Let's go to a call for arms we've got with regarding to the pitch. So I have been speaking to one of the groundsmen who's obviously responsible for the pitch, and he's asked me to put on a plea, and they're asking for any willing volunteers to help repair divots at halftime and full time for both the Morecombe and Kings Lynn game. Please contact Martin Hopper, and he can be contacted on martin.hopper@scunthorpe-united.co.uk. Once again, that's martin.hopper@scunthorpe-united.co.uk. I'm saying dash, it's kind of the little mini hyphen. I don't know what that is, Max. You'll know, I'm sure. But also, a big update there is that the pitch is getting a mini renovation after the Kings Lynn game. So the current plan is for the pitch to get a small renovation after the Kings Lynn game. Now, the fibre sand won't be sorted, but it does they're in the process of doing everything they can to promote root development and stability. I've just read words there off a message. I don't quite know what it is that I've said, Max, but good news, I think, that it does look like there is a plan in place to get some repair done to the pitch.
Yeah, and that sounds like a positive development to me. Good to see the call out as well, because that says to me that there is work that the club think they can do and thus needs doing. So if any volunteers or any keen gardeners fancy a little bit of work on the hallowed turf, then do reach out to Scunny. I'm sure they'll be very, very grateful for any offers of support. And when it comes to that mini renovation after the Kings Lynn game, we'll keep our fingers crossed. We want a good pitch. When you've got creative, quick players, you want a surface that benefits you. We're not Lincoln in the mid-2000s. We're not John Beck's Cambridge. We want a decent surface. So any work that the club can do to help us get to that position, the better.
Right, Marco, let's look ahead then to the Tuesday night game against Morecombe. The right time to play them. I was glad they didn't get the win on Saturday, because it looked like maybe the manager might have got the chop and just hung on.
Yeah, no, look, on paper, we said earlier, on paper, it's a really good opportunity, especially at Glanford Park. But was very grounded. The players won't be getting carried away. I think they'll train as any other game and really aim to sort of have a Truro-esque performance and get the job done early doors. So, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because obviously when we were meant to play them, they were on the knees. They just missed the deadline, actually, didn't we? We were probably could have played them.
Day, I think it was. I think it was a day, yeah.
Yeah, but look, then their first game is when you wouldn't have wanted to play them. I think they actually won the first game, didn't they?
They did, the 1-2-1. Injury time.
Yeah, so look, if there is a good time to play a team, I suppose they're in really poor form at the minute. I know, is it Singh the manager?
Yeah.
I won't say wild ideas, but he's definitely a footballing manager.
Good way of putting it.
Yeah, if that's, I think sometimes you've got to realise football's played on the pitch.
He's I think what you're trying to say there is one of these modern managers that has a perfect idea of how football should be played.
Yeah, and look, Butler on paper you'd say he's not that manager, but I've been very impressed with our style of play this season and how we're taking it to teams. So yeah, we'll see what obviously style they come with. I saw they signed George Thomas from the PFN. I thought he was actually quite good at us with his time here. So yeah, it'd be good to see him back. I think he scored the other week too. So they do have Joe Nuttall, but he's not been in any squads.
No. I think he did play on that first game, didn't he?
They've seen enough.
Yeah, they're sinning up there.
But
Have we been ripped off here? We got him for a free.
but on a serious note, when even if you do have a respectable budget, when you're literally trying to throw a team together and a squad together at 3 days' notice, I don't care who you are. If you're signing 15 players, the law of mathematical averages says that not all of those signings are going to work.
Your pool is literally going to be Joe Nuttall and Ross Millen, isn't it?
And particularly after the end of the window, everybody who is available at that stage is available for a reason. If you look at Morecombe's results in September, there is a pattern. They conceded 5 at home to Gateshead, 5 away at Truro. They conceded 3 at home to Wealdstone, 4 away at Solihull, 3 away at Boreham Wood, 3 at home to Forest Green. However, in fairness to them, I don't care who you are in this division, a point away at Tamworth on Saturday is a pretty respectable result. If you go to Tamworth and you don't defend properly, you lose games. And I'm sure they would have come under the same kind of set piece and long throw barrage that any team would be put under at Tamworth. So, look, I'm hopeful that we can get the ball down, get our good creative players on the ball. As Marco said, strike early. If you can get in front early against any opposition, that's a massive boon. Then they've got to come out more at you. And hopefully, the Carlisle home game was the first time that we hadn't scored at home since before Christmas. Let's hope it's not 2 in 4 days.
Let's hope so. Max, another one for you. The fact that Morecambe have got such a big pool of players that they can select from, and Butler did talk about this in his post-match interview on Saturday. Do you think that's a good or a bad thing?
The honest answer is it's both. It does give you more options when it's rotation, but it depends what the quality is like as well as the quantity. They are down at the bottom, which doesn't necessarily surprise me. However, they're 5 points and goal difference adrift of safety, but they've theoretically got 3 games in hand. So, they are going to need to put a little run together at some point. And we found it out when we got taken over by David Hilton and, the squad was on its absolute barest of bare bones. And you then go out and you try and sign players. And that's not an easy process for any side at this level to go through. We know that we've been there. So, look, we'll see. I would be surprised, however, if they made wholesale changes for the game on Tuesday. Because if I'm Morecambe, I'm thinking, right, that's the kind of performance that they put in against Tamworth on Saturday that will get them something out of the game away at Scunthorpe on Tuesday. So I'd be surprised if they tried to come to us and play totally expansive, attacking, aggressive football. But look, football can be a strange business sometimes. So I suspect we'll know more by about 9:45 on Tuesday night.
Then, Marco, let's have a score prediction. Tuesday night, Morecambe come to town. What are you saying?
Back to business, 3-0.
What about you, Max? Short and sweet, concise?
I think we'll get it over the line, but I could see it being a little bumpy moments. I'll go 1-0 Scunthorpe.
Why use one word when 20 words will do, eh? I'm going to chuck... Go on. Do you want to chuck mine in, Marco?
Yeah.
I'm going to go 5-0 Scunny.
Wow.
Yeah. We're going to roll them over, mate. Telling you now.
God's sake.
I'm breaking from my 0-0 and I'm going big one. 5-0.
Oh, yeah, because this prediction from you, that was short and sweet and concise, wasn't
it? Play nice. Right. Any other business before we get onto our FPL, Marco?
No, just obviously I'll bring on to FPL with our league. Gareth's still very much bottom. Obviously the leagues haven't updated us yet. But yeah, so obviously going into the international break, we'll have a proper update when everything's got the bonus points and everything. Standouts this week, obviously Semenyo got the week off to a flyer. I know many people had him, a few even captained him. Not me, obviously. So yeah, obviously a big standout. Obviously bagging 2, Marlon getting 2. I mean, obviously I think most popular captain this week was Haaland as they played Brentford, who also managed to get on the score sheet. So quite a high scoring week actually. There was a couple in our league who I know has got over 100 points. So yeah, once it's all updated, we'll do a proper one there. But yeah, it's interesting, good international. It's still all to play for. I've had a few people speak to me yesterday. Very interested in that bar tab. Battinson from a Georgian in Barton. So yeah, really good to see people so interested. And again, big thanks to everyone taking part. There's well over 300 and odd now. So yeah, keep going. And look, one thing, you can't be as bad as us guys. So.
No, quite right. Right, we haven't got a spy in the camp this week because of, well, if I'm being honest, me being away in the States and the quick turnaround as well with the game. So what I have done is I have prepared a light-hearted quiz. Now, I should say, I was out on a run yesterday and I was listening to quickly Kevin Willie score, and a similar kind of quiz to this was used, and I was in absolute stitches. And I thought, if they can get away with it, then we can absolutely get away with it. So their quiz was, it was a quote quiz, and it was, is this Alex Ferguson or Mussolini? So
Jesus.
I've gone down
for the record, we have got no idea what's coming here.
Nope.
So I've gone for, is this a Mussolini quote or a Brian Laws quote? And I've prepared this in advance.
Oh no! See, I'm already thinking of
no,
certain
don't give
Brian Laws
any away.
quotes.
Don't give any away. So we've got 5 each. 5 for Max, 5 for Marco. I have got a decider if it goes down to it, if it's all level. But let's get straight into the quiz. So Max, the first one for you. So is this Mussolini or Brian Laws? We matched them for every stride that they gave.
Okay, that was less bad than I was expecting.
Yeah, we've started slow, so we've matched them for every stride that they gave. Lawsy or Mussolini?
Let's go for Mussolini.
Incorrect. That was in fact Brian Laws. Okay, Marco. This
award nominated? Miss?
Yeah, award nominated. Is this Mussolini or Brian Laws? The less we speak, the better.
I think that was Jose Mourinho, wasn't it?
Brian Laws.
Incorrect. That was Mussolini. Max, back over to you. Who said this?
I'd just like to say I really like Lawsy.
Yeah. Well, who said this?
But not Mussolini.
No.
Just to be absolutely clear, for the avoidance of doubt, Max doesn't like Mussolini. Politically, a little bit different.
Not even his great grandson who plays for Lazio.
Okay, right, Max. I have an aggression about me. I want the glory. Is that Lawsy or Mussolini? One more time. I have an aggression about me. I want the glory.
Again, I'm gonna go for Mussolini.
That was Brian Laws.
What have you got context to any of these quotes?
Sure. So the end of the quote was, I want the glory of scoring goals.
Okay, so we're slightly. That's an interesting place to chop off that quote. Okay,
Marco, over to you. Whatever tactics we put in there, we've gone there with a purpose and to win.
Got to be Laws, hasn't it? Surely we're not talking tactics.
That is Brian Laws, correct?
Thank God.
that was the easiest one so far.
I've just got a picture of, in like obviously with World War, them using clipboards like hammer him.
Oh God! Right, Max. This to pull it level. Supporters are like women; they go with the winning man. What do you say?
I mean, okay, wow, what a quote. I'm not sure I approve of that. I'll go with Laws.
Incorrect. Was Mussolini.
That's an interesting translation there. What's Mussolini talking about supporters for?
Supporters might be voters, who knows? Supporters of a political party. Okay, right. So, Marco, you can hammer home your lead here.
Is this a quiz I want to win?
Who said this? I want to make my own life a masterpiece.
It's got to be Mussolini.
It is Mussolini. You're 2-0 up.
Who knew that the Italian would be better when it comes to the quotes of the infamous Italian fascist dictator?
What are you insinuating? Are you saying I should have an advantage here?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm insinuating.
What would Marco think?
Right, Max, you need this to go in to stay in the game. Okay, the quote is, "There's always an element of danger after defeat because the shackles have been removed." Is that Lordsy or Mussolini?
Let's go with Brian Laws.
Correct. You're still in the game. You're clinging on. Okay, Marco, for the win. Interesting quote. "It's better to live one day as a lion than 100 years as a sheep." Is that Lordsy or Mussolini?
Mussolini.
Correct, and you've won. We've got one more round. We'll stick with it. So, Max, just to keep your own reputation more than anything else.
Oh, yeah, because I've got one of them.
Is this Lordsy or Mussolini? Sometimes when you get promoted automatically, it's gone after a week. The playoffs and the final in 1999 at Wembley were special.
I suspect that may be Brian Laws.
Correct. And to finish it off, Marco, is this Brian Laws or Mussolini? I have been a racist since 1921.
I'm not doing Laws dirty like that. It was definitely Mussolini, I think.
Well done. You've won it 4-1. Congratulations. 4-2? 4-2.
4-2.
Well done. Are you claiming that point, Marco, Max, like it's a big thing for you?
It's a factually accurate statement to say Marco won 4-2.
What did you think of that, lads? Did you enjoy it?
Well, I'm obviously a history buff. So, yeah.
Who knew one infamous bald Italian man was up to date with the quotes of another infamous Italian bald man?
Do you know, there's still quotes on buildings, funny enough, in my city from when, obviously, he had rule. So, and you can still see them like really faintly in the buildings.
And it just says there, Billy Sharp was my best ever signing.
Obviously, although it's awful and he was an awful person, it's very interesting to actually still see. So, yeah, I'm not saying that gave me an advantage in that quiz, but
Right, well, thank you for listening to this episode of the INR podcast. Whether you've listened on Spotify, on YouTube, or anywhere else where you get your podcast, we thank you. Of course, once again, a huge thank you to our sponsors. Any final words from the panel?
No, just like I say, if you can get down to a pitch to help out on divot control, I can tell you after being at the game yesterday, they're quite large. A numerous amount came out. So hopefully, obviously, if we can get that sort of mini save. I remember last year in the season we had a 2-week period and we actually came back and it looked a lot better. So hopefully we can do something similar. But yeah, if any fans, obviously with volunteers that are already there, do an absolutely incredible job. So if anyone can help and just take the pitchforks and get stuck in, yeah, then amazing.
The only other thing I was going to give a shout out was to the FCAs, Barra. We're going to encourage people to vote.
Ideally, yes. Vote for the I Know podcast. Of course, we've been nominated for the FCAs, which is is it Football Content Awards or Football Creator Awards?
Football Content Awards, best in non-league.
Best in non-league. Well, I know, like, you think we're saying this, but the fact we've been nominated is
correct,
not a joke to us. We can't believe.
It is if you listen to the last 10 minutes of the podcast.
I'd like to know if a bunch of amateurs are doing this. Mussolini or Mark Wright?
No, that would be a good one.
It would be a good one. I reckon that'd be close, that, you know.
Honestly, Barra's been in the States for 2 weeks. I think the sun has got to him. I mean, what else is there to say other than just general reactions of shock?
Yeah, it took a turn.
Yeah, it took a turn. Right, well, thank you for tuning in and listening. We'll see you on Tuesday night. Up the iron.
Up the iron.